Hello everyone, happy Monday. It's time for another fun tutorial. Today we're going to make a nice little cute little, I guess you could say farmhouse rustic sign for your kitchen. Have you seen, there's so many different signs out there that you can make, and I think sometimes people are really intimidated by the different signs out there, and they're really easy to do, and you don't always need a ton of fancy materials or products to be able to make your own sign. Sometimes it's just a matter of a piece of scrap wood and a nice little stencil. I typically use my Silhouette or my Cricut machine to cut vinyl out to do custom designs, and that way you can lay the vinyl down on your wood and then stencil on top of it. And that's what I do for all my custom ones. But I know not everyone has one of those bigger machines. And so I wanted to do a project where anyone could do by just going to the craft store or the hardware store, and then you guys can make your own. Now these aren't going to be custom, but you can still do so much with all the different stencils there are out there. So I'm starting with a piece of white. This is actually a pre-finished board. It's left over from a different project. It's molding, but you can honestly use any type of wood, and you can paint your surface white, or you can paint it black, or you can paint it any color you want. But this is the style that I wanted to do today. So here, I have this one. It's a really small piece, and so we're gonna start with this. And I have a stencil here. You can get these packs at Michael's. I've seen them at Walmart. You can get them almost anywhere that they have craft supplies. So this one is kind of a French-inspired stencil. I'm going to use this little piece right here that says Bon Appetit. Do this here. And so we're going to put this down. And there are a few tricks to getting stencils to look pretty good. And there's a lot of different ways. People are brilliant when it comes to getting this to stick better. But we're going to go the easy route here. So I'm going to lay my stencil down on my wood and try and get it as center as you can. You may want to use a ruler if you're going to be really, really particular about it. And then I love using painter's tape for just about anything. I use it all the time. So this is just some basic Scotch glue painter's tape, and I'm going to tape down the stencil onto my design here. Let's get it as even as we can. I'm being really particular here, guys. Okay, to get this one down, it's pretty good here. So once you have it taped down, I'm going to use just a tiny bit of black acrylic paint. And now we're going to use a technique called dry brushing. And the thing about dry brushing is if you want kind of those more like chippy, rustic looking signs, you don't really need a lot of paint on your brush. So you can actually do it without having to sand over the top at the end, where I know you can also do that. But I'm just going to put a little tiny dab of black paint here. And I have just a foam brush. This one is more of like a stencil brush, has the flat, so you can just very, very gently dab there. So I'm going to get just a tiny, tiny bit of paint on here, you guys. And then I have that, and then I'm going to do where I pat it down. So you're almost taking all of that really wet part off, and you're going to dab it. And this way it's left with just a tiny, tiny bit of paint on your brush. So that way it's going to be a lot less likely to bleed through the stencils, and it'll give you like a much cleaner line. But if you do bleed through, there are ways to fix it, and I will show you that too. So we're gonna gently dab here, very carefully. Just you want to take that flat part and go right over the stencil. We're going to keep doing this throughout the whole sign, and you just want to barely carefully dab all that extra paint off. Keep it there, and we're going to go right on top. You can do this through the whole thing. Now to give it a little bit more of a naturally worn look, on some of the letters you can kind of dab a little bit more paint, and then on other areas of the stencil a little bit less paint. But at the end, if you don't like where all the paint is, there's a thing called sandpaper. It's something we all have probably in our garage, but you can always just kind of sand away parts of that paint that you don't want there, and it will get a little bit more of a rustic look. So we're gonna keep doing this. And if you guys don't wanna make your own sign like this, there are tons of Etsy shops out there that do them for you, and they're all really awesome, and you can do custom designs. This is just kind of a really quick way if you want to make one yourself through a craft night, get together with girlfriends, something you can all do. Okay, so I think I've gotten a good amount of paint down here, so we're gonna reveal our stencil. Hopefully it didn't bleed through too much. All right, a nice little bon appetit. See? It turned out pretty good. There's just a little patchy areas, and we did that on purpose by doing the dry brush technique. So it's not going to be like a solid lettering. This is just the ability to kind of make sure that it doesn't bleed through. You're putting a very little amount of paint on there. So we did that. Now, I like to do a border on this. You can do wood. You could actually do you could attach this to a different piece of a board. That way it kind of just finishes the whole piece and makes it look a little bit more polished. So I've pre-cut some pieces of wood. These are pre-stained. You can go get just like these 1/2-inch square pieces of molding or at the hardware store, and just stain them whatever color that you want. So I'm gonna use these, and I already pre-cut mine. Now, when you're cutting them, when I am doing my signs, I like to measure out the edges first. So I have this side, because then I like the top piece to go over it. I like my top piece to be the longest piece, and then that way the side will kind of come up just like this. I prefer to use nail guns when doing these, and then it goes right into the wood. It creates a really nice clean line. So that's just my preferred method to do it. You could use wood glue, but then you need to clamp it together, and it would just need to hold probably overnight. So I'm going to use a nail gun real quick. So I'm going to try and get my safety here, put my little goggles on. It's really stylish. So I use my Ryobi Airstrike. This is just a brad nailer, and I like it because it's cordless. And you just have the same batteries you do for your drill. I use this for my shiplap. I've used it for small projects, for molding. I use it for everything. I love this. If you're gonna get a tool, this is actually probably one of my favorite tools I own, period. And you can, honestly, like anyone can use it. So I'm gonna start with my side pieces. Just gonna put those there. All nice aligned. Might need to stand up for this one. Just gonna go right in. Okay, see? It's super easy, you guys, really easy. Okay, so I'm gonna do another side piece. And the paint, when you use acrylic paint and that little of paint, it's actually, it dries so fast. Okay, and do our top pieces. Look how cute it's turning out. And that was so simple. You guys, I've only been doing this for maybe like 5-10 minutes. Okay. And look at that. Done. Look how fun that is. So you guys can totally do this on your own. It really took me no time at all. If you do not want to make one your own and you'd rather buy it, I can list out several Etsy shops for you to be able to buy your own and get them custom for you. But this is like a quick project that you can do in a weekend and a night. And all you have to do is get some stencils at Michael's or Walmart. And they really are pretty inexpensive. And just use some scrap wood laying in your garage. So that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed some little tips, and you guys are encouraged to be able to do this on your own. And so happy Monday.